Pratap Bhanu Mehta has made headlines not just in India, but he has attracted attention in the United Kingdom, in the United States, uh, for resigning from a small private college in rural Haryana. And this seems odd because you see there are plenty of small colleges in India, and they've been set up recently, and they say, oh, you don't have to go to Harvard. You can come here to Haryana, and instead of paying $60,000 a year, we can do it for 7,000, 8,000. You get the same product, but you get it at home on your doorstep. And so this is a place called Ashoka University, and it was built as a liberal arts university, like Yale and Harvard and Princeton and so forth. But Indian students, after all, they've been fooled before and they'll be fooled again. They were aware that there were a number of such institutions mushrooming in all sorts of unlikely places. One was Nalanda International University in an even more bucolic place. That was Rajgir in Nalanda, in district Nalanda in Bihar. And that was headed up by Amartya Sen. He was the chancellor. But Amartya Sen is a Nobel Prize winner. And Nalanda International University was supposed to be a sort of the Japanese were supposed to give a lot of money. They said, oh, we'll give $1 billion. And the Chinese actually gave about 10 million or something like that. Or maybe a million, I don't remember. But, the idea was that all the various Buddhist countries would contribute money for Nalanda University. And of course, Amartya Sen, our Nobel Prize laureate in economics, he'd make a very good figurehead. But of course, then you had the financial crash of 2008, and India was lumbered with a white elephant. And Amartya Sen, he managed to get out of this shit show by saying, no, BJP, the fascists, they pushed me out. But, then people looked it up. They looked up Nalanda and they said, oh my God, this is, this is a terrible place. Because when, it's okay now, it may be, it may be all right. But it's never going to attract good people because, it's in a very bucolic location. Fine, if you have a medical college there or an engineering college, fair enough, maybe, because parents will say, I don't want my 18-year-old being too close to the bright lights of Delhi. So send him off to the boondocks, and where he's got nothing to do except either play basketball or cricket, and otherwise hit the books, and that's okay. That's fine for an undergraduate place, a degree college. That's fine, but not for nobody will go to do liberal arts at the postgraduate level, in the middle of nowhere, unless of course you're a Buddhist. But then, there was already a Pali Institute in Nalanda. And if you're a Buddhist, then the last thing you want is to be lectured by, stupid people who say, oh, Buddhism is patriarchal and, so Nalanda was turning into a nonsense, but, it was a place where the students complained that they couldn't get yogurt, they couldn't get dahi. And I've been to Rajgir. I could get plenty of dahi. I could get excellent vegetarian food. In fact, I could get dosa and sambar, and this is, 1998. So I don't know what the hell's going on. You also had some guy, I think the VC or the pro tem, the temporary VC or whatever it was. I don't know, the dean. because there was some foreign girl, poor thing, and she was sexually harassed, and the guy is going, the professor is going, Biharis are like that. Biharis will be Biharis. This is Bihar, which is not what we want to hear. Because, Nalanda is a place where just recently, a doctor was driving along with his wife and his daughter, and some hooligans stopped him. They tied him to a tree, and then they raped his daughter, and then they raped his wife. And so this is not a great advertisement for Bihar. Fortunately, Narendra Modi, after Sen, there was some Singaporean chap. He was a Catholic, poor chap, and they don't want him back in Singapore. But he also resigned. So then they put in some RSS type chancellor. But there's no need, because, Biharis are actually 99.99%, very, very honest, very decent. And, just the government just had to show that, look, this is a decent place, this is not a place for sexual revolution. And they put in a lady who's an experienced, a VC, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay, but it won't be great, because the only thing which matters for a college is location and money, of course. But the clinching factor is if you can get the top, the brightest kids, or the brightest cohort in the cohort that you're aiming at. It really doesn't matter even if your professors are pretty rubbish. It doesn't matter, because you get the brightest and you put them in a place, they'll teach each other. They'll come up. So, but this is the whole problem. That if you get into a prestigious place, whether it's Presidency College in Calcutta or St. Stephen's or Hindu College in Delhi or, whatever it may be, so long as it's prestigious, the professors can be absolutely rubbish. These kids are going to teach each other and they're going to come up. The other thing is that, the smartest of them, who gets the first class first, he's hired as a lecturer. So they just bypass the professors. They work with the lecturers, and and they do great. So professors don't really matter. And now let's look at Ashoka University. So you pay what, about £6,000, £7,000. That's very reasonable if you're, from the British point of view. I'd send my kid to Ashoka University. It's a good, it's basically, you can take a bus and it's about an hour to the metro line into Delhi. So 2 hours you can get into Delhi, and don't go in the middle of the night or something, and you go in a group. Even if it's a girl, you'll be safe. And, Haryana is great. I love Haryana, and it's Sonipat, and, it's going to come up. That area is coming up. A lot of other colleges there. It's a good place. If you look at the food, it's not bad, and it's not, many of the other colleges are only vegetarian. And they say only vegetarian, and you're thinking, oh, it's Hinduism. Oh, right, because of Hinduism. It's not. It's because of bloody being mean bastards. Because they'll cut down the quality of the rice and of the dal, and nobody will be able to eat it. Cow will refuse to eat it. Goat will refuse to eat it. It's not vegetarian. It's just a scam. And they chase away any guy who comes to sell you chole bhature or something that you can actually eat. I'm speaking in a very cynical manner. But, Ashoka has got good... in fact, one of the alumni has a food outlet, and it'll be okay, These are smart kids. The thing is that when I say smart, I mean Indian smart. In India, when we say, हाँ वो smart है कि मतलब well dressed, well coiffed, smart in attractive appearance, not smart in the mental sense. Because if you're smart in the mental sense, then you should have made your money. You should be making money instead of wasting 3 years or 4 years at getting a worthless degree. And let's face it, degree is worthless if people are saying, you didn't get into Delhi University, that's why you went to Ashoka. And the other thing is that, when you get into Delhi University, they don't really check your attendance that much. You can be doing a lot of other things. And that's good. That's good. For example, I went to the LSE, and LSE didn't give a damn. I didn't take any. Actually, they did. I mean, they called me in after my second year because they said you didn't take any exams. I said, yeah, but I didn't attend any classes or lectures either. So then, they said, oh, right, well, oh, you're paying, because I was actually paying. I wasn't getting a grant, as the local people would get a grant, but I was a foreigner. Oh, you're paying. Okay, well, we don't want to sack you because you might be bright. So the registrar said, okay, look, I have a friend, you go and talk to him. Because I'd been admitted at 16 and I had good A levels. So that's one other factor that, they thought maybe he's too bright to be for this college. Actually, I wasn't. I was just, I had other things to do. And so I went along to see this elderly man who was 16 when he went up to Oxford. So, he asked me a couple of questions about economics, and he said, yeah, okay, that's fine. And basically he's saying, look, you're here at the LSE, so, the tuition is not good, and the quality of the students is not high. But, you have an opportunity. Also, you're 17, you're 18, you can't get a job anyway. You're going to get a shit job. So, be sensible, learn, and we're British. We're not going to chuck you out just because you didn't turn up for some bureaucratic reason. But you're in London. Look around and learn. And that's what you can do in a big city. You can't do that out in Haryana. That's the problem. So Ashoka University, what it should do, and in fact, one of the founders, he has a very successful, Jamboree education, I think it's called, or something like that. It's got a very successful exam prep and test prep business with 59, 60 locations around the world. So, Ashoka can be turned into something like a law and accountancy college, where plus some foreign languages, bit of German, business Japanese, business Korean, business this, Brazilian. And the other thing that they can do is that they can partner with corporates so that they can take modules which are specific for particular placements and internships. So really, so this becomes a training. So this is basically manpower provision, and that's very much, that's a good thing to do, because I'll be very happy. Anybody around the world would be happy to deal with like Ashoka University in Haryana. Haryana people are good, decent values. The kid is going to be smart, well dressed, good appearance, confidence, not with some bloody hair on the face, and and with the business English, business Japanese, whatever, as maybe as may be the case, and exactly the module of knowledge which is needed for that particular job. So, so a training company, and a university, why not? A private college can be anything it likes. Let it be a training company, but not for AI, artificial intelligence. the guy from the Jamboree Education, he's opening one in Chandigarh for AI, Tech University. I think it's called Plaksha or Plashka, Plaksha, I think, in Chandigarh. That's fine, that's fine. Because, the professor of robotics or professor of AI or whatever, he's going to be happy to live in Chandigarh because it has excellent amenities. It's actually, it's Corbusier's city. It's lovely, yeah, that works. But Haryana is a slightly rural location in Haryana is great for guarantee that, listen, my kid, okay, didn't get great grades at the age of 18, but I've paid the money, and the kid he knows that daddy and mummy, we've saved, we paid the money, and he has got these top score. He didn't do that well in accountancy, but then he got a little bit of help. Anyway, but he's really doing well in design. And let me show you on your on my tablet what he has designed. And then you're going, yeah, I want to do business with, I want to hire this guy, this kid, because I know this is a good family. You see, ये इनकी अच्छी औकात है, and they are, it's going to be a polite, decent chap or lady, girl, and they will come up to the right standard. Don't worry about it. You're building a relationship. So Ashoka, absolutely no worries from the commercial point of view. Does it matter whether they are that they have liberal values? I think so. I think so, because I want, liberal values are very, very important. Why? Because you hire a guy and he sees some lady who's wearing, who has breast or something, and he go gur ke dekh raha hai. That's not liberal values. Liberal values is, hi, hey, it's nice to see you. It's not, not staring at boobs. It's not seeing a Muslim and going, oh my God, he's Muslim. And that's one thing. Ashoka should increase the number of Muslims in the faculty. I think it's about 2% or 3%. And, basic economics says that if there is discrimination against Muslims in India, then we should see, if in Haryana there are 7%, 8%, then you should see 20% Muslim professors in the faculty. Why? Because there's discrimination for the, big bucks. Then more people go into teaching, in a liberal environment. It makes sense. The reason that a lot of brown people like myself, we were tolerated in private colleges and, the private sector of education in America, in Britain, even in Britain, for one simple reason, because it made sense. That, yeah, okay, it made sense back in the 70s and 80s when the white man or lady was aware that, there'll be some prejudice against, especially people who are really dark-skinned, or have weird names. And they're going, yeah, okay, so we're getting a first-rate mind cheap, so that makes sense. So really, you need to have a lot of Muslim professors. And I know these Muslims because I'm from Delhi. They are bloody genius, in terms of culture, cultivation, so on and so forth. Don't get me started. The fact is that Muslims have tremendous literary culture. And, you sweet talk them, and you can fool them into into actually taking teaching and not quitting teaching, because then they understand that, we're teaching kids who may have never seen a Muslim in their life until they came into my class. And these are the kids that I have got to, that Muslims in India, we need to be, to be able to communicate with them. Because in the old days, and even now, if you're a Muslim, you can speak Urdu, or even if you can't, we assume that your Urdu is good. your name is, Ahmed or whatever, then and you just say something, any nonsense with a slightly Urdu feel, and we'll be going, Baba, Mukarrar, Shad, oh. Because, it's a prestigious language, Urdu culture. These guys are the rulers. It's like, if you have a posh British accent, people assume that your father was the viceroy or the governor. And so bring in the Muslims by all means, bring in the Dalits, and but Dalits are that transfer earnings are very high, you know, but bring in the students who are Dalits, and one thing that you will find is that, and where are the scheduled tribe students? Because their English is better, and also their attitudes is more Western, especially from Northeast. That's why you want them, because then you start to understand how to get on with a lady. Because, at 21, 22, you're going to be in an office, and some of the ladies, anywhere in the globe, or even whether in India or, at the way in which technology is changing and the way in which, see, the fact is, if you're young, your USP, your unique selling point, is the fact that you don't mind going for 12 weeks to Seoul, 12 weeks to Oakland, 12 weeks here, 12 weeks there. Because you're not married, you don't have kids, right? So that's your USP, your ability to, and you've got to be able to go into an office where there are girls with big knockers and where the custom is for everybody to kiss each other and to go for drinks. And, some of the time, sex is going to happen because that is that culture. But if you make a grab, the moment you get a bit grabby, oh my God, just because of your color. If a white guy did it, they'll go, he's drunk. You do it, it's a culture. Oh, the culture of these people. Oh my God. Sati, they will do sati to us. They will marry us, and then they will burn us, and they will put the hijab on us, and they will chop us. So if you're brown or black, if you're actually African black, just be cool. You'll get all the pussy you want. That's been true for the last 50 years. But you've got to be very cool, because the moment you get grabby, and we won't get the pussy, by the way. I'm saying that if you're brown like me, you won't get the pussy, and that's good. That's why our parents don't mind us taking these type of jobs, because because we can remain virgin, which is very important. Actually, it is very important. Back in the bloody 1980s, if you were promiscuous, you'd have AIDS, and AIDS was a death sentence back then. And suppose you'd had an arranged marriage. That means you and your bride dead, So, Indian ways aren't that stupid after all. Nothing wrong with using your hands and doing some manual labor rather than being in a hurry. So, I've given some very bad advice to Ashoka University students. But you see, one thing is that this business of that, if my college doesn't have some anti-national people and some stupid people, professors, then my reputation will suffer. No, that's not true. That's not true. And I think founders and trustees of Ashoka, they understand that, they have got to take the long view. Short run, Ashoka University has taken a big hit in reputation because, all over the globe people are saying, oh, Ashoka, oh my God. But that's only for 1 month, 2 months. And long term, an institution which keeps turfing out crazy ideological nut jobs, it gets a reputational benefit. And I remember this because I went to a school in England, a government school, a grammar school as it was called. And about 7 or 8 years before I joined, or 5 years, no, yeah, but yeah, I think 6 years before I joined. What happened was that there was a magazine, and there's a magazine in London, in England, called Private Eye. And Private Eye had managed to get hold of evidence that the headmaster of this school that I went to, that if he saw that any of his boys were crazy Marxist nutters, that he would immediately write to all the universities saying, don't admit him, he's a crazy Marxist nutter, he'll create problems. So, for about 6 months or a year, the name of that school was destroyed because it was on, it was on the news, and people would say, "Oh my God, I wouldn't send my son to that school because the headmaster, he'll see him wearing a red tie, and he'll say, oh, he's a communist, and he'll ruin his future." But what was the result? What was the ultimate outcome? Ultimate outcome is that even the leftist, Marxist, Jewish people of Hampstead and so on, they said, "Oh well, actually that's a good school to go to," because they keep a lid on the craziness at sixth form, which is good, because if you can't be crazy in the sixth form, then you'll spend all your time studying so that you can get to university and then be crazy. You see what I mean? So that actually boosted the school, because the very liberal, and there were mainly a lot of Jewish people there in that particular area. And, many of them, of course, they supported communism because, Hitler killed Jews, whereas Stalin only killed Jews if they were communist Jews who he thought were rivals to, that they were the wrong type of communist. He didn't kill Jews because they were Jews. He killed them because they were Trotskyite or Bukharinite. So, he also killed some Indians, by the way. So originally Naidu's brother Chatto, he died. M.N. Roy ran away before he could be killed. So, if it's a degree college, suppressing all this nonsense is an extremely good idea. But, degree colleges can be very profitable. Research is stupid, because nobody will go to bloody Haryana to do research. That's crazy. Degree college, yes, you go to Haryana because you want to build up your muscles, eat good food, have a shooting range so that you can excel in marksmanship, and then you can get a gun license. And, in India, that's a good thing to have, because, you say, I'm a sportsman. So get that, become a sportsman in that, and everything else. Haryana is great, and that area is coming up. There's no real problem. And acquire a good physique. Do work damn hard. Delhi University, bloody attendance is what, 30%, 20%. You do 100% attendance. Do all your tests. Get, for accountancy, for law, for so many other, suppose you go into banking, you'll have to pass a banking exam at some point. Law, econ, you've just got to crack crack GMAT, do it. Go for test preparedness. And don't forget, in the future, wherever you go, in whichever country you go, you're going to be part of continuous education, because sooner or later this is going to come in, that you every 10 years you're going to have to pass an exam again. So get it, do it now. And then after that, if you want to be Marxist, or you want to be this or that, do it afterwards. No need to do it now. Okay, anyway, best of luck.